Downtown Brooklyn is where old New York grit meets a sleek modern skyline. Once the civic heart of the independent city of Brooklyn, it's now the borough's central business district, the third largest in New York City after Midtown and Lower Manhattan. Dumbo, short for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass, is one of Brooklyn's most striking transformations. It was once a gritty industrial zone, but now is a sleek blend of cobblestone streets, tech startups, art galleries, and some of the most photogenic views in New York City. A trip to Dumbo includes the Brooklyn Bridge Park, Empire Stores, the Archway, and much more. The Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges are like architectural siblings spanning the East River, each with its own personality, history, and role shaping New York City's skyline. Together, they frame the Dumbo neighborhood like bookends, offering some of the most cinematic views in the city. In this vlog, I'll be visiting Dumbo, the Brooklyn Bridge Park, and walking across the Brooklyn Bridge. Downtown Brooklyn is the third largest central business district in New York City after Midtown and Lower Manhattan, and is located in the northwest section of the borough of Brooklyn. The neighborhood is known for its office and residential buildings, such as Williamsburg Savings Bank Tower and the Metro Tech Center office complex. At the northeast corner of downtown Brooklyn is Ridge Plaza, bounded by Flatbush Avenue Extension and Manhattan Bridge on the west, Tillery Street on the south, and the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway on the north and east. The newer term Rambo is an acronym for Right Around the Manhattan Bridge Overpass, also applies to the area, comparing it to Dumbo. Downtown Brooklyn is connected with Manhattan by the Brooklyn and Manhattan. Downtown Brooklyn is connected to Manhattan by both the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges. Downtown Brooklyn's history is a story of transformation, from Lenape land to Dutch farmland, from abolitionist stronghold to civic heart, and now a dynamic urban core. It began in the 17th century when the Dutch established Brooklyn near what is now Brooklyn Navy Yard. The area remained sparsely populated until 1814 when Robert Fulton's steam ferry connected it to Manhattan, turning Brooklyn Heights into the first commuter suburb and setting the stage for downtown Brooklyn to become a commercial hub. By 1834, Brooklyn was incorporated as an independent city, and downtown became its civic and economic center. Brooklyn Borough Hall, originally called City Hall, anchored the area, surrounded by department stores, theaters, and churches, many of which were active in the abolitionist movement. Duffield Street, in particular, is believed to have housed stops on the Underground Railroad. Brooklyn Bridge's opening in 1883 further cemented downtown's importance, linking it directly to Manhattan. But the biggest shift came in 1898 when Brooklyn was consolidated into the greater New York area, becoming one of its 5 boroughs. In the 20th century, downtown Brooklyn saw waves of modernization, from the rise of the Cadman Plaza to the development of Metro Tech Center. In 2004, a major rezoning sparked a new era of high-rise residential towers, tech campuses, and a cultural revival, though not without controversy over gentrification and displacement. Today, it's a layered landscape where 19th century churches sit beside glass towers and echoes of Brooklyn's independent spirit and hum beneath the subway grates. Brooklyn has evolved into the world capital of hip. Traces of the old guard stand proud among the more recent wave of stylish restaurants, bars, art galleries, and indie shops in Brooklyn's lively, multicultural neighborhoods. The most popular thing to do in Brooklyn is explore Dumbo and the Brooklyn Bridge Park, where you can get the best views of both the Brooklyn and Manhattan Bridge. Use my link to plan your trip to Brooklyn using TripAdvisor. The Brooklyn Bridge is more than a marvel of engineering. It's a story of ambition, resilience, and transformation that spans centuries and boroughs. The idea of connecting Manhattan to Brooklyn took shape in the mid-19th century when the East River was a treacherous barrier for commerce and commuters. In 1869, John A. Roebling proposed a revolutionary hybrid cable-stayed suspension bridge. Tragically, he passed away before construction even began. However, his son, Washington Roebling, took over and was soon incapacitated by disease. This was when his wife, Emily Warren Roebling, stepped in, becoming the de facto chief engineer and pioneering figure in civil engineering. After 14 years of construction, the bridge opened on May 24, 1883, hailed as the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time. It instantly became a symbol of New York's ingenuity and ambition. The total length of the bridge and approaches is 6,016 feet. The main span of the bridge is 1,595.5 feet. The clearance at the center is 135 feet. The iconic Brooklyn Bridge connects Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn Heights. Known for its stone arches, the Brooklyn Bridge supports 5 lanes of vehicle traffic, a pedestrian promenade, and protected bike paths. As of 2022, an average of over 107,000 vehicles, 32,000 pedestrians, and over 4,000 cyclists travel over the Brooklyn Bridge a day. Between 1944 and 1954, a comprehensive reconstruction took place. The inner and outer trusses were strengthened. New horizon strays were installed between the 4 main cables. The railroad and trolley tracks were removed. The roadways were widened from 2 lanes to 3 lanes, and new approach ramps were constructed. Additional approach ramps to FDR Drive were opened to traffic in 1969. The Brooklyn Bridge was designated as a National Historic Landmark in 1964 and a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark in 1972. The bridge and multiple Manhattan and Brooklyn lots comprising the approaches were designated as New York City landmarks in 1967. In recent decades, the structure has been refurbished to handle the traffic demands during its second century. In September 2021, a two-way protected bike lane opened along the Brooklyn Bridge, repurposing one lane of vehicular traffic to accommodate the rise of cycling in New York City. Whether you're a first-timer or a seasoned New Yorker, the bridge offers multiple ways to experience its grandeur. You can walk or bike across it, as the elevated pedestrian and bike path offers sweeping views of the Manhattan skyline, Statue of Liberty, and Brooklyn Waterfront. You can start in either City Hall Park in Manhattan or Cademan Plaza in Brooklyn. If you want to walk the bridge when there are fewer crowds, I would suggest during sunrise and sunset, as early morning or twilight walks are magical. You can also see the Brooklyn Bridge from Brooklyn Bridge Park beneath the bridge on the Brooklyn side, as this park offers lawns, piers, and photo ops galore. You can see the bridge from the water with a New York Harbor cruise or by taking a ferry across the East River. If you have extra time, I might also suggest a guided history tour to learn about the bridge's construction and cultural impact. On the bridge, there is a pedestrian walkway elevated above the traffic. It offers panoramic views of the Manhattan skyline, Statue of Liberty, and the East River. Learn about the rumblings, the bridge's construction, and its neo-Gothic towers. Dumbo, an acronym for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass, is where Brooklyn's industrial past meets its creative present. It was once a gritty warehouse district, but now has become one of New York City's most photogenic and dynamic neighborhoods. Cobblestone streets and restored 19th century warehouses give it a cinematic feel. It's framed by the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges, offering iconic skyline views. The archway under the Manhattan Bridge hosts live music, art installations, and community events. Public art is everywhere, from murals to sculptures tucked into alleyways. Time Out Market and Empire stores bring together top New York City chefs under one roof, with rooftop views to match. The Brooklyn Bridge Park stretches along the waterfront with lawns, piers, and the Jane's Carousel. Also a part of Brooklyn Bridge Park is Pebble Beach and Main Street Lawn. They are perfect for relaxing with a view. Dumbo is part of the Brooklyn Tech Triangle, home to startups, design firms, and creative studios. It's a neighborhood that rewards wandering. Every corner has a story, a view, or a surprise. Designated in 2007, the Dumbo Historic District includes 91 buildings dating from 1950s onward. You'll find a mix of Greek Revival, Romanesque, and reinforced concrete structures, many with trolley tracks still embedded in the cobblestone streets. Dumbo's historic buildings are like architectural fossils, each telling a story of Brooklyn's industrial rise, creative reinnovation, and waterfront grit. Old Fulton Street is one of the most atmospheric stretches in Dumbo, where Brooklyn's layered history meets its creative present. It was once a bustling gateway to the Fulton Ferry, Brooklyn's lifeline to Manhattan before the bridge. This street still hums with echoes of 19th century commerce and innovation. Water Street is part of the Dumbo Historic District, where trolley tracks still peek through cobblestones and many buildings date back to the mid-1800s. The street itself was a key artery for shipping and manufacturing, hugging the East River's edge. Water Street is one of those rare places where history and modernity coexist block by block. In the past, it was lined with warehouses and factories that powered Brooklyn's industrial boom. Now it is a cobblestone corridor of loft apartments, tech startups, and curated storefronts. Here are some standout features that anchor Old Fulton Street. 1 Old Fulton Street, 8 Old Fulton Street, 28 Old Fulton Street, and 15 and 11 Old Fulton Street. 1 Old Fulton Street was originally the Franklin House Hotel. This building served 19th century travelers and even hosted Quaker services in its ballroom. Today, it is home to a Shake Shack, but the bones of the past remain. 8 Old Fulton Street was built as Brooklyn City Railroad Company's headquarters. This building once connected ferry passengers to Brooklyn's interior via streetcar. It later housed light manufacturing and is now a residential building. 28 Old Fulton Street was designed by Frank Freeman. This former warehouse became home to the Brooklyn Law School and now houses co-ops. Its Romanesque revival style stands out in a sea of utilitarian facades. 11 and 15 Old Fulton Street once housed a saddle maker, wholesale grocer, and even a tobacco warehouse. Today, they're home to eateries like Haagen-Dazs and Cinnabon. Here are a few highlights that bring Water Street to life. 220 Water Street and 60 Water Street. 220 Water Street is a former 19th century shoe factory that was turned into a luxury loft residence. This building blends exposed brick timber beams and oversized windows with modern amenities like a fitness center and rooftop lounge. It's a prime example of Dumbo's adaptive reuse ethos. 60 Water Street is a sleek, glassy contrast to its older neighbors. This 17-story residence was designed in leisure architecture. The Dumbo Archway is a hidden gem tucked beneath the Manhattan Bridge that feels like Brooklyn's own urban cathedral. Originally built in 1906 as part of the bridge's Brooklyn side support structure, it was once a gritty passageway for trolleys and trucks along Water Street. But in the early 2000s, it was transformed into one of New York City's most unique public plazas. Today, the Archway is a civic stage for live music, art installations, and community events like Dumbo Tween and Live at the Archway. It's a photographer's dream with its vaulted granite ceiling and dramatic lighting. It's a gathering place where locals sip coffee from nearby cafes and visitors stumble upon pop-up performances and food trucks. Make your way from Manhattan to Brooklyn on a guided tour in New York City. Wander across the iconic Brooklyn Bridge and learn about its history and explore the trendy Dumbo neighborhood. Take in sweeping views of Manhattan and Brooklyn from the Brooklyn Bridge. Join a walking tour that visits one of the city's most popular attractions. Use my link to join this walking tour in New York City using Get Your Guide. Walk across the Brooklyn Bridge and learn about the amazing and dramatic history of this famous landmark while enjoying gorgeous views of the Manhattan skyline. Make use of several fantastic photo opportunities. Use my link to join this guided walking tour in Brooklyn using Get Your Guide. The Manhattan Bridge is the unsung hero of New York's East River crossing, often overshadowed by the older Brooklyn Bridge, but it's nonetheless fascinating. The Manhattan Bridge was opened in 1909. It was the last of the 3 suspension bridges built across the East River. After the Brooklyn and Williamsburg bridges, it was designed by Leon Moisseiff and was the first suspension bridge to use deflection theory, allowing for a lighter, more flexible structure. The bridge spans 6,855 feet and carries 7 lanes of traffic, 4 subway tracks, a pedestrian walkway, and a bikeway. The Manhattan Bridge Arch and Colonnade at the Canal Street entrance is a Beaux Arts masterpiece inspired by European monuments like the Porte Saint-Denis in Paris. Sculptures like the Spirit of Commerce and Spirit of Industry flank the arch, adding a touch of grandeur to your commute. For one of the most iconic views of the Manhattan Bridge, head to Washington Street between Water and Front Streets in Dumbo. This spot perfectly frames the bridge's steel arch between red brick warehouses, with the Empire State Building peeking through the bridge's lower span. It's a favorite for photographers and Instagrammers alike. Time Out Market in Dumbo is like a curated tasting tour of New York City's culinary scene, all under one industrial chic roof at 55 Water Street. Set inside the historic Empire Store warehouse, it blends food, culture, and skyline views into one unforgettable experience. Eat at 21 plus eateries featuring top New York City chefs and restaurants like Clinton Street Baking Company, Bark Barbecue, S.A. Bagel, and Felice Pasta Bar. There are 3 bars serving craft cocktails, wines, and local brews. There's a rooftop terrace with jaw-dropping views of Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges, perfect for sunset sipping. In the evenings, there are salsa parties and DJ sets as the market hosts regular cultural happenings. Time Out Market is open daily from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and until 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Grab your food and head to the 5th floor rooftop and you'll get one of the best views of the city, especially at golden hour. The Brooklyn Bridge Park is where Brooklyn's Industrial Past meets its green, community-driven future, spanning 85 acres along 1.3 miles of the East River shoreline. It stretches from Atlantic Avenue to just past the Manhattan Bridge, transforming old shipping piers into vibrant public spaces. What makes Brooklyn Bridge Park special is Piers 1 through 6, as each pier has its own personality. Pier 1 is all about lawns and skyline views, Pier 2 is packed with sports courts, and Pier 6 has playgrounds, gardens, and a dog running area. There are historic landmarks scattered all over the park, including Empire Stores, a tobacco warehouse, which have been reborn as cultural and culinary hubs. Jane Carousel is a restored 1922 carousel in a glass pavilion. It's whimsical but nostalgic and photogenic. Pebble Beach and picnic spots are ideal for lounging with views of both the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges. There are lots of activities you can do in the park, such as kayaking, roller skating, ping pong, birding, and even environmental education programs. The Empire Fulton Ferry Lawn, nestled between the bridges, offers a dramatic, up-close perspective of the Brooklyn Bridge and its stone towers. The best way to explore Brooklyn Bridge Park is to start at Pier 1 near Old Fulton Street and walk north or south along the waterfront. You can rent a bike and cruise along the Brooklyn Waterfront Freeway. It is best to visit at golden hour for unforgettable skyline views and photo ops. Brooklyn Bridge Park's Piers 1 through 6 are like chapters in a waterfront story, each with its own personality, views, and vibe. Here is a quick guide to what you'll find as you move south along the shoreline. Pier 1 is the park's grand entrance near Old Fulton Street. It has sweeping lawns, dramatic views of Lower Manhattan, and the iconic granite Prospect Steps. It's a favorite spot for picnics, skyline photos, and sunset watching. Pier 2 is a sport lover's dream with basketball courts, handball courts, a roller skating rink, and fitness equipment. It also includes swings, picnic tables, and shaded seating. Pier 3 has a peaceful landscaped lawn surrounded by a grove of trees. It's great for reading, lounging, or quiet reflection with harbor views. Pier 4 features a small beach and a launch site for non-motorized boats like kayaks. It offers a more natural shoreline experience. Pier 5 has soccer fields and picnic tables with grills. The picnic peninsula is perfect for group outings and barbecues. Pier 6 is a family favorite with themed playgrounds like Slide Mountain, Swing Valley, and Sandbox Village. It also features the flower field, volleyball courts, and food options like Fornino and the docked schooner Pilot. Each pier is connected by the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway, making it easy to walk or bike the full stretch. The park is open daily from 6 a.m. to 1 a.m., and you can check out events, maps, and updates on the official Brooklyn Bridge Park site. Head off the tourist trail and get a taste of Brooklyn's food culture, and you can visit some of its tastiest eateries and artisan businesses on a small or private walking tour. Come hungry and follow your guide to eclectic foodie hotspots in the Brooklyn Heights and Dumbo neighborhoods. As you go, sample a range of sweet and savory delights and discover local loved food businesses and markets that many visitors overlook. Use my link to join this guided tour in Brooklyn using Viator. Explore New York City like a local with a tour guide who has lived in Brooklyn for 30 years. Learn about the history and the people who have defined Brooklyn over the years as you marvel at the Manhattan skyline. Pass by film and TV locations as well as the homes of rich and famous people. Use my link to join this guided tour in New York City using Viator. Fulton Ferry Landing is one of Brooklyn's most historic and poetic spots, where the borough's past meets the East River breeze. The refurbished pier was reopened in 1997, offering visitors spectacular views of the Brooklyn Bridge, the New York Harbor, and the lower Manhattan skyline. The Fulton Ferry Historic District is a gem tucked between Dumbo and Brooklyn Heights. It is one of the oldest parks. It is one of the oldest parts of Brooklyn, with deep ties to the city's maritime and transit history. It was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1974. The district spans about 16 acres and includes 15 contributing buildings constructed between 1830 and 1895. Located at the foot of Old Fulton Street, this was the site of the first ferry service between Brooklyn and Manhattan, which dates back to 1642. It became especially significant in 1814 when Robert Fulton's steam ferry revolutionized cross-river travel, turning Brooklyn into a commuter hub before bridges were built. During the American Revolution, it played a pivotal role in George Washington's daring nighttime retreat after the Battle of Long Island. A historical marker at the site commemorates this dramatic escape. A favorite for locals and tourists alike for its picturesque setting, the Fulton Ferry Landing features custom-designed marine railings that interweave Walt Whitman's famous Crossing Brooklyn Ferry. A poem with imagery, bronze relief drawings of local historic scenes are embedded in the pier deck. Today at the Fulton Ferry Landing, you'll see custom marine railings featuring lines from Walt Whitman's Crossing Brooklyn Ferry and bronze reliefs of historic scenes. Breathtaking views of the Brooklyn Bridge, Lower Manhattan, and New York Harbor, as well as nearby gems like Barge Music, Luke's Lobster, and the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory in a landmark fireboat house. The historic Smokehouse building is home to Luke's Lobster, voted New York's best lobster roll. In addition to their award-winning sustainable seafood, Luke's Lobster sells soups, a seasonal lobster tail salad, and offers a variety of other dishes. Fulton Ferry Landing is a place where you can still stand and feel the layers of history ripple through the waters. Taking the New York City ferry from Fulton Ferry Landing in Dumbo is one of the most scenic and stress-free ways to explore the city by water. Here is how you can make the most of it. You board at Old Fulton Street and Furman Street in Brooklyn, New York. This stop is a part of the East River route connecting Dumbo to Wall Street/Pier 11 in Manhattan. There are also stops at South Williamsburg, North Williamsburg, Greenpoint, East 34th Street, and Hunters Point South. Ferries run daily, starting as early as 6:24 a.m. on weekdays and 8:04 a.m. on weekends from Wall Street/Pier 11. Tickets are $4.50 per ride, and you can buy them via the NYC Ferry app or at the kiosks at the landing. Please note, it is not a hop-on, hop-off. Each ride requires a new ticket. From the deck, you'll get unmatched views of the Brooklyn and Manhattan Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, and the Lower Manhattan skyline. It's a photographer's dream, especially at golden hour. Avoid rush hour between 8 to 10 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. for a more relaxed ride. You can check routes, schedules, and live updates on the official NYC Ferry site. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge is a colossal suspension bridge that links Brooklyn and Staten Island, spanning the Narrows. The tidal strait connects New York Harbor and the Atlantic Ocean. When it was first opened in 1964, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world, and it has remained the longest in the US today. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge spans 13,700 feet, about 2.6 miles. The main span is 4,260 feet long. The height of the towers is 693 feet, so tall they're slightly far apart at the top rather than at the base to account for Earth's curvature. The designer is Othar Aman, the same engineer behind the GW and Triborough bridges. The bridge was named after Giovanni da Verrazzano, the first European to enter New York Harbor in 1524. It is a vital link in the Interstate 278 corridor connecting the Belt Parkway and BQE in Brooklyn to the Staten Island Expressway. Klook is an awesome booking platform which allows travelers to book tours and activities, tickets to attractions, and shows at great prices. Get the Klook Pass New York and choose 2 to 7 options that appeal to you the most and create unforgettable lifetime experiences. Some notable attractions include the Brooklyn Bridge and Dumbo walking tour in New York and Brooklyn Street Arts tour. Use my link to purchase the Klook Pass New York. Dumbo is where Brooklyn's industrial soul meets its creative renaissance. It's a gritty, gorgeous, and endlessly photogenic place. It was once the hub of 19th century shipping and manufacturing. Dumbo still wears its past proudly, with cobblestone streets, cast iron facades, and repurposed warehouse, which now have turned into art galleries, tech startups, and lofts with skyline views. This 85-acre waterfront park is Dumbo's backyard, offering lawns, piers, playgrounds, and Jane's Carousel, all with postcard-perfect views. If you want to explore Manhattan after Dumbo and the Brooklyn Bridge Park, I suggest walking across the Brooklyn Bridge to explore Lower Manhattan. Another way you could get to Manhattan is by taking the ferry to Wall Street/Pier 11. It's home to the iconic shot of the Manhattan Bridge from Washington Street, plus sweeping vistas of the Brooklyn Bridge and Lower Manhattan from Pebble Beach, Empire, Fulton Ferry Lawn, and rooftop spots from Time Out Market. In my next vlog, I'll be visiting Lower Manhattan.